We're good.
Think so?
We're in.
Okay, I have 12 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Greg David Pierce is absent. Mr. Tyler Dean,
Here.
Ms. Emily Hamburg,
Here.
Mr. Tom Schmitz is absent, and Mr. John Welch.
Present.
And you have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Next week, ask the attorney to please read a written request for special meeting.
Pursuant to a request for a special city council meeting dated May 26, 2025, the Honorable Jim Benage, Mayor of the City of Bel Aire, we, the undersigned council members of the City of Bel Aire, Kansas, hereby respectfully request you to call a special meeting of the Bel Aire City Council to be held at the Bel Aire City Hall, 7651 East Central Park Avenue, Bel Aire, Kansas, on Tuesday, May 27 at 12 o'clock p.m. for the purpose of consideration of change order number 4, authorizing additional pavement removal and full depth asphalt repair of Farmstead Court, and one cul-de-sac at $64,660 for the 2025 street maintenance improvement, pavement and curb repairs project with APAC Kansas Incorporated, Shears Division, and Professional Engineering Consultants, PA. The three council members are Tyler Dean, Emily Hamburg, John Welch by their signatures pursuant to a request for a special council meeting dated May 26, 2025, and signed by at least 3 members of the council. I hereby call a special meeting of the governing body of Bel Aire, Kansas, pursuant to Bel Aire City Code 2.1.5, to be held at the time, place, and purpose as specified in the above request, which all follows by the signature of Jim Benage, Mayor.
Thank you. Move on to new business. So the only action we're looking at today is this is change order number 4. I think Mr. Luke Peter is on line to tell us more about that.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. So talking about change order 4, so the kind of the scope of these 2 cul-de-sacs and the Bel Aire Heights have kind of expanded. Once we had kind of milled off some of the surface within those cul-de-sacs, we discovered some softer areas. So making the determination to kind of expand those. Originally, we were just scoped to kind of just do the cul-de-sac bulbs, so kind of the roundabout at the end of those cul-de-sacs. The southmost one, we were going to reconstruct. The middle cul-de-sac, we were just going to do a mill and overlay. But again, based on the conditions, once we started milling off that surface, kind of making the determination to go ahead and reconstruct the full cul-de-sac all the way out to Farmstead Street. So in the agenda, you should have kind of an updated where we're at with the budget, kind of similar to what I presented at that May City Council. So looking at the numbers based on the 3 change orders we've had so far and just kind of some general overruns that are hanging out there, we have around $122,000 left in the 1.9 budget. Expanding these locations in Bel Aire Heights would add an additional around $65,000, which would leave us around $60K remaining in that budget. And kind of the big piece that's still hanging out there is the Lawn Terrace neighborhood. So that's just to the west of this location. We're set to mill and overlay that whole neighborhood, but we're kind of on pause to get a determination on how we want to proceed here and if we want to leave some wiggle room in the budget because things are getting tight, because we may discover, something when we start milling off of the Lawn Terrace neighborhood. So that's kind of the summary of where we're at. I guess thoughts on that.
Okay. Well, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Peter?
I am kind of curious, Mayor, on the Lawn Terrace section, what the budgeted piece was for that area.
So let's see, I ran the numbers. So for the whole like remaining budget that still has to be done, remaining work, we're at around $220,000 worth of mill and overlay in the Lawn Terrace neighborhood. And we could, just do Kruger, which is kind of the main collector. What's remaining in that is around $63,000 of mill and overlay, and then the rest of it's around $120,000 worth of mill and overlay. So you could, just do the main collector there, to leave us some more wiggle room. Was that what you were asking for, Tyler?
Yeah, so just to clarify that, 220K is what we have left to spend in the original scope, which was 1.2-ish million.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
just to clarify.
Were there
Yeah.
other streets involved in that besides Kruger?
Yeah. All the asphalt streets in that neighborhood were included. Yeah, in that work.
Glendale, is Glendale in there? Okay. I can't remember all the streets in there, but okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
No, that helps. I just wanted to have an understanding of how much we had left. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason you ask about Glendale? Is it worse than Kruger? Or?
No, I don't know that it's worse than Kruger.
Okay.
I just wanted to refresh my memory as to what area we're talking about, because
Okay.
sometimes I get a little confused of which areas we are in.
I got a
Especially when
question.
we work with so many.
These courts on Farmstead, did we do any sampling like we were talking about doing in Lawn Terrace?
We did not. No.
Okay, I was just wondering if our sampling failed.
I do have a sample of one of those streets if anybody would like to see what the asphalt looks like.
I meant the pre-sampling, so we had a clue whether or not we had to do
No,
a
we
deeper
did not.
replacement, which is, I think you said that we don't think right now we need to do any in Lawn Terrace, but we keep being surprised. So
That is correct. The APAC did do some core samples for us, and they sent pictures out of those core samples. And APAC didn't see any concerns, but that is a 2-inch core sample of a much wider area. So the likelihood of those getting missed, is fairly strong there. I know they tried to do as best they can to take a representative sample and kind of get some of the worst areas. There's some areas like the frontage road, which has a lot of asphalt on it, so the chances are very slim. There's others that looked like they were maybe 5 inches in depth, which is a little bit of a concern with not quite understanding of what's below that. You take off the top 2 inches, you're left with 3. And so if that's left open for any amount of time, any traffic over it, I think the trucks bringing the asphalt in would probably be okay, but they may start showing some deterioration too. So it's whenever you're in this situation when you have really an unknown pavement section, it's kind of a guessing game as to go forward, and you're not ever really entirely sure what you're going to get.
when you said frontage road, did you mean along Oliver or along 45th?
Correct. Along Oliver.
Okay, I was gonna say if it's on 45th, we probably ought not be doing it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, the one on Oliver that was originally planned.
So Luke, you had said there was 220K about, and then you mentioned specifically if we just did Kruger, you said another number. Was it 63K? Am I?
Yeah. Basically, Kruger's like a third of that.
So if we were to get to
120.
the point where Kruger was done first and it was soft, we would have roughly 150K left to make a decision on, do we fully reconstruct it? And then we would probably have the
Yeah.
tough decision of whether we spend over our budget or we just shrink the scope back down to just do Kruger.
Yeah, and that's
Okay.
kind of what we're trying to get a feel on, is how aggressive to be. How close do you want to get to that budget number? Yeah. Obviously, we don't want to mill off that whole neighborhood and then
Right.
discover a big issue and way overspend. So,
And
I mean,
Luke,
Apex willing. Yeah, go ahead.
as far as schedule goes, so if we approve this change order, they'll do the farmstead courts and the cul-de-sacs, and then start on Kruger. Is that the plan? And then after Kruger, we can kind of sit down and have that discussion, that larger discussion on farmstead or on Lawn Terrace, and we can bring you some options. Is that a next Tuesday discussion or a later discussion?
depending on what the weather does, every time I look at the weather, it keeps changing. Is rain, no rain?
Kansas.
Who knows? So yeah, I think we would be safe for next Tuesday discussion on moving forward. We've been keeping in pretty good contact with APAC, and I kind of feel bad, on again, off again, on again, off again, but that's kind of the nature of the beast, as decisions are made and kind of we move along. But yeah, they're willing to work with us. They understand money's a finite resource and don't want the city getting in trouble for kind of overspending what they need.
If we find Kruger needs a full depth replacement, do we think we can do it for the 160K that would be left?
Off the top of my head, yes, but I'll run the numbers and get with Ann just to make sure.
Okay, as long as we're close. I don't mind if we go a little bit over budget, but I don't want to go a lot over budget, is my opinion.
Yeah, understood.
Well, I would say our course then is to go ahead and do these cul-de-sacs and start on Kruger, but nothing else till we know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I agree. There's a bigger discussion to be had down the road, but I'm going to make a motion to approve change order number 4, authorizing additional pavement removal and full depth asphalt repair of Farmstead Court and 1 cul-de-sac at a cost not to exceed $64,660 for the 2025 street maintenance improvement pavement and curb repairs project, and authorize the mayor to sign.
A second.
A motion by Ms. Hamburg, a second by Mr. Dean. Any more discussion? If none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries 3-0. Next item is adjournment.
Do we need to discuss any more about lawn terrace?
I think, and I'll look at the city attorney, but I'm pretty sure special meetings, you just want to stay on that agenda item and adjourn.
Yeah, I think that's the case too. But
Yep.
Still, do we need to just,
No.
maybe we need to do it some other time, but
Yeah. Next Tuesday, I'll have a discussion item on open discussion, open meetings at the end of the meeting. And right now, the agenda is not looking like a 10 o'clock meeting, so
Good.
we should have some time.
okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Welch, a second by Mr. Dean. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries 3-0. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your taking time out Tuesday afternoon.